Well, hey there, everybody. Hope everybody's doing really well. I had a dog turd of a week last week because my cell phone got run over by a car. Yep. Luckily, I had already ordered a new one. The LG V60 ThinQ 5G dual screen. So let's go ahead and let's unbox it and check it out. It seems really lightweight. I wasn't expecting the boxes to be as light as they are, but we'll see. I think we've been had. That's not a cell phone. Just kidding. I've had this for about a week, and I want to tell you what I like and what I don't like about it. So ever since my regular phone, which for the last couple years I've been daily driving the OnePlus 6T, got crushed last week, I needed a replacement really quickly. And to be honest with you, I'm not looking to spend $1,000 or $1,500 for a new phone. It just seems ridiculous to me. The V60 checked all the boxes that I needed. It's got a camera, it has a screen, it turns on and off. Basic requirements for a phone, right? It makes phone calls, it does text messages. What more could you want from a phone, right? The V60's got a lot more going on under the hood than you might first think. The V60 comes with the Snapdragon 865, which I know it's not the 865 Plus, but the 865 still packs a heck of a punch. I was able to run any game that I would want to play on Android on the V60, no problem. It's got 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of internal storage, and it has an expansion slot for, I think they advertise up to 2 terabytes on the micro SD card, which might as well just carry around an OTG cable and a hard drive at that point, because those 2 terabyte cards, well, I don't even know if they make the 2 terabyte cards. The 1 terabyte cards are insanely expensive. So, I mean, you know, having a 256 gig micro SD expansion card in this, that'd probably be more attainable. But even a 128 gig would be more than plenty. So on this channel, as you could probably tell by the quality of the video, I generally shoot all of my videos with my cell phone. And all of my previous videos up to this point have been done with the OnePlus 6T. And I do that because I don't really think that I'm good enough to warrant the investment into some crazy high quality camera gear. But the V60, I think, is going to be quite the improvement on the shot quality going forward. This video, obviously, since my OnePlus was destroyed, I'm using my old Moto Z2 Force, which we'll talk about the Z2 Force and the Moto Z line in a video here soon, because I've got some things to say about that. But this has got a 64 megapixel rear shooter. It's got a wide. I think this one's got the laser sensor that they usually use, and a lot of people will say, oh, it takes pictures, but they're not as good as the Samsung and stuff like that, and their software and processing and things like that. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Use Filmic. Complete and total control over any camera. Filmic Pro. It's worth the $15. That's how I do all of these videos, is using Filmic Pro. In fact, over to this side, this way, is a monitor that's streaming the feed from this camera using the Filmic remote. I'm controlling everything, the zoom, the focus, the lighting, everything is controlled remotely down to the exposure, everything. to this main shooting camera that's above me here. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this 64 megapixel sensor is going to bring to the videos. So let's get into some of the meat and potatoes of this thing. A really chunky form factor. It's definitely a chunky boy. 5,000 milliamp internal battery. It's got 3 side buttons, a dedicated Google, volume down, volume up, power and screen timeout are on this side. Fingerprint sensor is under the screen. It's fine. I've always been a pin user, so I don't really see the value in the fingerprint scanner under the screen. I found that like getting used to using the fingerprint scanner under the screen, like on my OnePlus 6, which is one of the early devices, it was very inaccurate and it only worked about 70% of the time, especially when you have a day job like mine where your fingers get messed up kind of a lot and you're dirty all the time and stuff like that. It never wants to work right. It's got all the typical LG fanfare, double tap to turn the screen on. It's got the really nice built-in DAC, and it's nice to have a headphone jack back on a phone. This is really nice. I know there's some neglected sets of headphones around here that will be looking forward to some action now that a headphone jack has made it back into our lives. USB Type-C comes with a 30-watt charger. It's fine. I use wireless charging anyway, which this has built-in wireless charging. But just as a regular phone, it's got a good feel to it. Not quite as super premium as like the OnePlus ones with the double-sided glass, but then again, that other sided glass, having the back glass is really, to me, it just feels more like a hazard. It's just another thing to protect from breaking. And this phone has enough stuff to worry about breaking without having a glass back. So kind of excited about that. Flat screen, there's no rounded edges to it. It's got a nice metal trim all along the bezel of the screen. It really it feels good in the hand. The handset on its own it feels quite good. I have smaller hand sausage fingers, so I can get my hand all the way around it. Swipe, everything works great. That 865 is really nice and snappy. 8 gigs of RAM is more than plenty to run it. Citra runs great, so like 3DS emulation, stuff like that, especially with the dual screen setup, is amazing. But speaking of the dual screen, let's grab the dual screen case, we'll clip it in, and I'll show you that. So here we are now. We've got the dual screen case clipped on. It's really simple to do. The phone just clips in and out of the whole case, and it provides what seems to be fairly decent protection for the phone itself. It's got a full backplate cover cut out for the camera. It's really quite a decent just case, but then you get the added functionality of having the second screen, and that is fantastic. It's only a 60 Hz display, which I know everybody's been pressing for those faster and faster displays, wanting the 90 Hz, the 120 Hz, the 144 Hz, and that stuff is fine, well and good, I guess, if you're into competitive phone gaming, I guess. But why would you be into competitive phone gaming? I don't know. So, with that being said, 60 Hz, both screens, they're both identical, even down to the fact that the second screen has a notch cut out, just like the first screen, the main screen. You can open whatever app that you want to use. Use the gaming center here. So we can swap that around. So this gaming center is pretty cool. So this is like a dual screen kind of like kiosk center thing for this phone, where you can toggle things like your gamepad on and off. You can flip it from side to side. So if we flip the gaming center, game launcher back to the secondary screen, and we hit the gamepad, we get a full dedicated gamepad on our main screen, which is really cool. And it comes preloaded with a few games that can utilize this, and then a couple of the other ones that can are the Rockstar ports, and they play really nicely on this phone. I mean, the 865 is plenty to get really good, solid gameplay for any of this stuff. I should take this time to mention dual speakers, top and bottom, sound good, perfectly fine. They're no Apple product, but they're loud, clear, little bit of distortion at the top end, but not too bad. But plenty for watching a movie or browsing TikTok, whatever you want to do. So here we have Bully running, 100%, using the gamepad.
Guess you're not addicted to breathing, huh? Come on! Now you gonna feel the wrath with my touch. You take it. You're dead. It's a freaking massacre! When will these kids learn?
Took me down. So yeah, works great. There's a couple of little like sideload apps. Well, they're not actually even sideload apps anymore, that you can get to kind of spoof the dual screen. And one is called LG Wide Mode. Which is available in the App Store. And it'll send the whole thing into a forced wide mode, which is pretty neat. A little novel, but still pretty neat. Exit out of that. Just like that. So that brings me to one of the things that I really hate about using the dual screen on this. This is the suckiest suck that ever sucked. It's a mag charger, and you have to use this little adapter plugged into your USB-C cable to charge the phone via cable with the dual screen case on, like that. But don't lose this, because if you don't specifically go to the LG accessory page and buy them directly from LG with $8 shipping for an $8.95 piece, these are $8.95 a piece directly from LG plus $8 shipping. So if you buy one, it's double the price, including the shipping. Or if you buy two, it's 50% of the price. I went and bought two more of these things because I lost this one in the first 5 days of having it for 3 days. It just came off the end of the cable and I could not find it. It ended up being stuck to the bottom of my bed frame. Like that, hidden. What a pain this is. And if you go anywhere else to try to get one of these, they're asking $40. $40 on eBay. I didn't even see them on Amazon, but eBay was the only other place I found them. $35 to $40 for this little adapter. And be super careful, because there's also one of these for the G8X. which has a different pin configuration from what I've seen in the pictures. So it's not even the same adapter. You have to specifically go to LG's mobile accessory site on the main LG's .com site and pick these up. So I did it to have a couple in the box, put away. Maybe I'll leave one at work or something like that, just in case. But this is stupid. I would rather just have an entire cable that's dedicated to this mag connection, if anything. And I mean, it's pretty strong, but it's still a pain. Stupid. I hate this thing. So that's a big time check in the negatives column on this phone. Another check in the negative columns on this phone is the amount of glass it has. Just the handset alone is fine. Single glass screen, you could put a bumper on it if you want to, like a bumper style case, or just like a soft case or something, be completely fine. Otherwise, if you're using the dual screen case, you have 1, 2, 3 complete glass panels. 3 of them. It has a front screen too, which is pretty handy. This front panel glass here makes me extremely nervous. So what I've done is I ordered the screen protector kit for the dual screen, which includes 2 glass and 2 of the soft TPU style coverings. I'll leave a link in the description because, and this is the only reason, is this side I put the soft screen protector on. This is one of the slipperiest soft screen protectors I have ever used. Now, I remember back in the day when screen protectors first came out and they weren't doing the tempered glass style, and all of them were pretty much these soft screen protectors, and they're kind of gummy feeling and nasty. This one is actually nice and slick. So it's not as slick as the glass, but it's still a ton more slick than any of the other soft screen protectors that I've ever seen. So I didn't really have much of a fear of like trying to use this screen productively with this soft screen protector on here. But I knew that if I was playing a game or something, that the main screen was still going to be my controller pad. So I put the tempered glass on the main screen and the soft screen protector on the secondary screen, and then on the front where the always on display is at, I put another one of the tempered glass that doesn't quite fit. There's a little bit of room around the glass, but it will still provide at least some scratch protection to this front glass. So really, in closing, I'm extremely impressed with the V60. I really, really, really am. And for $600 for an 865, 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of internal storage, expandable micro SD slot, it's got the 64 megapixel main shooter on it. It's way more affordable than even OnePlus is right now. $800 for a OnePlus now. I don't know what happened to OnePlus. We used to love them because flagship specs at affordable prices. $1,000, $1,500, $1,300. We're getting ridiculous on these handsets. It's just, who wants to carry around $1,500 worth of cell phone in their pocket? That seems like a gigantic waste, of money, especially when you can get the V60 for $600. I paid $679 for the V60 ThinQ and the dual screen together. What the hell? But anyway, thanks for stopping and checking this out. I hope that instead of going for something huge like, you know, the S20 Ultra or the, you know, the crazy new Note or something like that, give this LG a look. It's a nice kit. It's a nice setup. The audio DAC is fantastic. I plugged a set of my Sennheiser earbuds into it, and it just does a phenomenal job of audio processing. You know, the expandable storage, using Filmic Pro in conjunction with the 64 megapixel main shooter to have that fine-tuned control and absolute control over everything that you can do with the phone's camera is just awesome. You know, it makes it way more usable, in my opinion, than even the the Samsung and OnePlus built-in software that they use. I'm not saying that those are bad, and I'm not saying that you have to be a professional to use Filmic or anything like that. Just spend a little bit of time to learn a little about the pictures that you're going to take. That's really all it takes, is a little bit of time investment. And I think that supporting a company like LG, you know, they've been pretty hit or miss here the last few years with their mobile devices. But they seem to be the ones that are kind of taking a risk here or there. Like they have the new one, the Wing or whatever they're calling it, with the T-shape. I mean, that stuff is cool. Everything else is just so iterative anymore. Intel, you know, and we all know what happens when companies get iterative. Progression slows down. There's no headway made in any kind of advancements in technology or style or anything like that. But I think that LG is one of the few companies out there that's still kind of taking some risks here. They're investing R&D in this DAC that they still include on these phones. They don't want to let the headphone jack die, which is fantastic. I mean, yeah, Bluetooth is fine, and you can get some really nice sounding Bluetooth earbuds, but there's something to be said about knowing the ohm rating for your headphones and driving them through a DAC and really just squeezing the best sound possible out of them. Having that ability to get down into the equalizer and set everything is just it's really nice, and I'm looking forward to having this as my daily driver going forward. This will probably be my daily driver phone for the next 1.5 to 2 years, just like the OnePlus 6T was. I was more than content with that, and that still had an 845 from Snapdragon in it, and it was 6 gigabytes of RAM, and it was not showing its age. It did everything that I wanted it to do, and so far this one has done everything I wanted to do and more. Watching like old school anime and stuff like that on this is awesome because it fills both screens. It's just amazing to be able to have this. Yeah, you have to get used to there being a bar in the middle there, but last night I was laying in bed watching some old shows and just having it flipped up with both screens open. It was just so cool. It's like having a 10-inch display anywhere you go, and having the ability to have 2 independent apps going at any time. That's just, it's novel, but it's also become I'd say really fun. One thing that I do want to mention before I end this video is that give yourselves some time to train your hands with using the dual screen. It presents a few oddities, like when making or receiving phone calls. If you're my age, if you're in your 30s and you kind of came up with the old school style of cell phone where it opened up, it was a flip phone. You're used to shutting and opening for receiving calls and making calls and things like that. You have to train yourself to actually fully open if you want to take a call. Though you can answer a call when the case is closed. There's a pass-through ear hole and there's microphones all around it. By just tapping the Google button on the side, on the hinge side, and then ending the call by double tapping the Google button. So that's pretty nice. But if you're just using the phone and you just go to close it, sometimes the outside display will pick up the notification and you can still use the Google button. Sometimes it won't. So I've had to really make a conscious effort to train myself to open the phone all the way up, answer the call, and take the call. But anyway, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for checking this out. Thanks for considering, the different companies, where we once flagship and hyped the One Pluses and stuff like that. It seems like LG, they're going to be our risk takers here for a little while, and they're going to be the ones doing something a little weird. And I just think that we should promote that kind of thinking, in the mobile industry, getting some people outside of the box to think about things a little bit differently, and the end consumer just benefits when that happens. They're the winners in that. So consider the LG V60 for your next phone. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, check out some of the other videos. A lot of the stuff I do is DIY, putting things together, building handheld consoles, and messing with my Raspberry Pis and things like that. So this is a little sidestep here, but I felt strongly enough about this to just get this information out there that there is other options. $1,500 for a cell phone is not acceptable. We shouldn't be okay with it. We shouldn't be supporting that. We should be fostering risk-taking and thinking outside of the box. So next time, you think outside the box.